Brad, any relief on the injury front this week? Hopeful getting on back.
Hopeful. That's an interesting word. Yeah, I'm always hopeful. We've got to get through training, and that's a normal line, but never more sort of real than this year in terms of just making sure that everyone's clear. But I mean, like on the surface, Nate Caddy will train fully today. Ben Holes will train fully. Goldie managed last week, so he'll train fully. So there's a level of expectation those guys will be available, but yeah, we won't be able to confirm until we get through that session and how they pull up tomorrow.
We've got the young key forwards that you brought in have all performed and been quite exciting. Does it make it a challenge this week to try and make it all work if Nate's ready to go? Yeah,
but that's a challenge I've been looking forward to the last period of time. So it's we thought Liam McMahon was impressive. Probably no more impressive than we expected him to be. He delivered what we'd seen at training at VFL level. So hopefully, if Nate's available, we'll have some decisions to make on structure and selection.
Is there a real opportunity in the next 6 weeks for guys to really push their case to be here in the next few years?
Always. I mean, this is the thing about everyone's got different motivations. Everyone's got almost like different objectives. And the thing in team sport is you're trying to bring everyone together in pursuit of a common goal. But the reality is that you've always got players who are striving for different outcomes. And I've talked about it a bit this year. I understand the issue around our injuries and lack of availability, but you talk to the players that have made their debut, that they don't. They're thinking about the opportunity that provides for them, and the opportunity for whether it's a first year, 18-year-old first gamer, or whether it's someone like Dylan Shield who's come back into the side to push his case. There's opportunities everywhere, and that's what the individuals are focusing on, and then we need to harness that and bring it into a team environment so that we can continue to take steps forward as a team. And there's huge opportunity for us as a team to keep improving the way that we play, and it's really obvious that we'd like better availability, but we'll be a much better team if we can improve a whole lot of younger players and expose players to elite AFL football. And as I've said repeatedly, there are some players who have come in and would stay in our team regardless of our availability. So that by definition makes our squad stronger, and it gives us more depth now and into the future. So we're frustrated with the lack of availability, but we need to focus on who is available.
How do you measure success in the last 5 weeks of the season?
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly I've been really explicit about the fact that we're not gifting games to anyone. We're still, as difficult as the availability situation has been, we're still picking players on form. We haven't gifted anyone a game. They've earned their spot in the team, and so we're still really explicit about the fact that we're going out to get the job done. I'm interested in the fact that I understand it. Externally, people think we're just turning up to get beaten. No, we're turning up to get the job done, and we get to test ourselves again this week against a team that is in contention for a final 8 position, if not even higher than that, and we get to test ourselves against those teams. So that for us is a great opportunity to continue to improve. And of course we want to get the outcome on the scoreboard, but more than that, it's the way that we play and the way that we play our footy. So because we're mostly interested in taking steps forward and being taking steps towards being the team that we ultimately want to be.
The Bulldogs really got a hold of you last time. How do you bridge the gap this time, do you think?
Yeah, we're not alone there. They've got a hold of some teams this year at various stages, and I think they're a very good team. I think it talks to the competition at the moment that I think I rate them very highly, but they're not a lock of playing finals yet, which talks to the fact that there's a lot of teams that are very, very capable. I don't even look down at the capability of St Kilda and Melbourne and Carlton, and it's very easy for people to say, they're lower ranked team because that's what the ladder says. But I still see real capability, certainly from a personnel perspective in all of those teams, and so the Bulldogs have got a hold of some teams this year, including us, and I like to think we've learnt some lessons from that, because they really taught us a lesson last time, and as hard as that is to deal with in the short term, that's in my experience, that's when you grow and improve the most. And so we'll get to test ourselves just how much we've improved, given changes in personnel, unfortunately.
Bailey Dale had 49 touches in that game.
I'm aware of that, yeah. I was aware of it during the game.
Do you look to maybe sit on him a bit off half-back, or any other guys that you're looking to give a bit more attention?
Oh, well, I mean, this is the thing with good teams, isn't it? I mean, Bailey Dale's an All-Australian for good reason. Ed Richards has been an exceptional player this year. Bontempelli's always in the conversation as the premier midfielder in the competition. Everyone, a lot of talk around Sam Darcy for very good reason. And then when Sam Darcy's getting a lot of attention, Aaron Norton looks like a dominant player. So I mean, right across the board, they're a very good team, and I think that I wish it was as easy as just saying let's clamp one player and that'll take care of everything, because if you focus too much on one player, you divert your attention away from others who I've just mentioned who are really influential. So it's going to be a big job for a whole range of players and for our overall structure as a team to take care of those things. But he was exceptional last time we played against them, and we were just simply unable to get that job done. So we'll need to be much better this time.
I'm sure you spoke about this when you were on the ABC, but just on Sean's departure from the club, it's the best thing for all parties moving forward. And then when ideally would you like your next head of high performance to be installed? Oh well, this is the thing. I mean, we once the club had made the decision that we'd be making change at the end of the year, in my view, it's the moral and ethical thing to do to inform those people. Sean is a really high quality person. His first instinct and reaction, outside of just obvious disappointment, was he didn't want to leave the players short-changed and short-staffed, and he wants to do what's best for the club, which speaks to his character and integrity. But it's also we can't run an exhaustive process in the background while not informing our current staff of what's happening. So we felt that was the best process and the most the best way morally to handle that. Ideally, when does that person get appointed? Well, it's very difficult, because it won't just be the AFL circles. We'll be looking at all sorts of sports for the best available people in those roles. But almost by definition, those people are currently in roles. So now we'll just run our process and let it take its course. But we'd like to think sooner rather than later is always better. But we understand the circumstances. We spoke to Daniel pre-game about the possibility of change. Is there going to be more? Do you anticipate?
It'd be really unfair to speculate. I think it's, our staff are, working extremely hard, and it's not just staff. I mean, it's the reality of the nature of our competition. And it's not just AFL; it's sort of world sport. I mean, that the uncertainty, at this time of year and this stage of the season is right across the board, whether that be players, coaches, high performance staff, everyone. So it's really unfair to speculate. But what I can say to our fans and members is that we're looking to build the most robust high performance area that we can, and we'll leave no stone unturned. And I've been public that we'll reallocate resources to that space. We're constrained by a soft cap, but we can reallocate resources into that area, because we know more than most this year how important it is.
You've been big on getting rid of the sub before, and Chris and Sam Mitchell spoke about it last night. Would you like Greg Swan to just scrap it?
Were they in favour of scrapping it? Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we did a. I think it was a poll of the senior coach, and I think it came back around 14 or 15 wanted it scrapped. Now, that doesn't mean the coaches get everything they want. I mean, we're not. We, by definition, are invested in our clubs, and we want what's best for our own club. I like to think we've all got a broader lens on the good of the game overall, but your own vested interest and your club comes first. So that's why there needs to be a really rigorous process for all these big decisions. And what I would like to see is a really strong argument for and against having a sub. the argument around fairness and, I don't see that argument. I didn't see it when I was at the AFL, but that's the argument that gets pushed for the main reason that we have a sub, that it's an equalisation fairness issue, that if a player or a club loses a player to injury, that it doesn't hurt them in terms of being out-rotated. But we've capped the interchange. So it's to me, it's a non-issue. My probably greatest concern around the sub is that it creates all sorts of problems for player load. It creates all sorts of problems for structure and balance of teams. I think ruck rule changes, we're very, very quickly breeding the Nick-Nat Nui type of ruckman out of our game, because you can't jump at centre bounces anymore. I can't think of the last time you genuinely saw two ruckmen jump at each other over the course of a game. They just come across and bully each other. So if Nick-Nat Nui was playing in our game right now, I'd very much doubt we'd have the ruck rules that we do, because what he does so well would just be taken away. And by having a sub, it makes it very, very hard to play two ruckmen. But by having 5 on the bench, I suspect more teams would at least look at it. And so we talk about a charter of the game. One of the many things I absolutely love about AFL football is there's a position for all types, whether you're Aaron Sanderland size or Brent Harvey size or everywhere in between. There's a position that you can play, and I just wouldn't like to see our game breed out certain types. And I have concerns around the rucks at the moment, and the sub and the bench is part of the reason for that.
Just on the rucks, Brad, so Greg talked about the possibility of trying to speed up some ball-ups and throw-ins, which would probably make it harder for ruckmen to scale across the ground in a quick time. Would you be concerned about that?
About balling the ball up quicker?
Yeah.
No, I think we should just do that instantly. I don't know why we wait. It's like if the ruckman can't get there, that's their issue. The reason. Again, it's part of the reason why you can play one ruck, because the umpires wait for the ruckman to get there. It's like if he's not there, throw it up. But there's nowhere in the rules that says we've got to wait for the ruckman to get there. But if the ball was thrown up quicker and the ruckman couldn't get there, maybe clubs start to think about, gee, we might need 2, not 1. But at the moment, I think I've been really encouraged by Greg's comments about speeding the game up, and the game's creeping out. It's getting longer and longer. So I'd prefer the ball was balled up quicker.
Just quickly on Ben McCarthy's been TBC on the injury list for a while. Do you know if he'll be back this season, or are you clear on when he might return?
Look, I mean, in the interest of being as transparent as possible, I think it's unlikely he's going to get back this year. But we haven't ruled him out. So it's a very unusual injury in footballers. It's an injury that unfortunately just takes time. And he's progressing, but he's progressing slowly. So I think it'd be unlikely. But I've stressed to him that you can't concede, and he's not conceding. He's pushing to try and get back, and I think that's really critical. Even I think it's even mentally, it's really important for him to push to get back. But I think, as I said, in the interest of transparency, I think it's more unlikely than likely that he gets back. But we're not going to concede until until we have to.
Elijah Sarnes, how severe is his hammy, I believe?
Sorry, I missed this.
Elijah Sarnes.
Yep.
How long? What sort of time frame are we looking at for him?
It's if you're talking really general terms, as a sort of a whatever a standard hamstring is these days, being 3 weeks, he's probably that and a bit. But that's very rough term. So he started running, and we'll just progress him. But it's always very difficult to give an exact time frame. But it's he won't be back this week or next.